All right, welcome back. Episode 213 of Chaotically Intolerant. Mike is back. Thank you to Josh joining the show last week. Good recap of the All-Star break. But we're going to get into this past week of baseball. We're going to do a little buyers and sellers trade deadline coming up. And then I think next week, maybe the week after that, we're going to do our NFL preview. So look out for that in a couple weeks. Football season is upon us. I have been completely checked out, so I got to take a couple weeks, get myself ready to go, get prepped on the NFL. But before we get into any of that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's go. All right, Mike. It's another week of baseball. We're getting into that nitty gritty time. We got about a week for these teams to see where they're at, really evaluate the rest of their season, see if these teams can make some playoff pushes. I know a team that's going to have a very tough decision coming up in the Boston Red Sox. I don't know what to think of this Red Sox team. Carlos Narvaez has two straight catcher's interferences on back-to-back nights. And then hits the go-ahead homer in the 11th last night to make up for all of it. He's a guy that probably should be in the Rookie of the Year consideration right now. He leads all rookies in F-WAR. I think he's like seventh in overall WAR or something with catchers. He's been what looks like a veteran, and he's a rookie. But this Red Sox team is weird. I don't know what to think of them right now. I don't know if I want them to buy or if I just want them to sell. And maybe just do nothing. Maybe just do nothing and go into the off season. I don't know. I have no clue.
There's a lot of teams in that same boat right now that are just really on the fence. Cleveland's another one that's just started playing really well after that 10-game losing streak. Looks like Arizona's trending towards being sellers. Kansas City probably would be more in that sellers field. Texas, a team that we thought was going to be sellers, they now are right in the thick of things. So they could be buyers, trying to beef up what's been a pretty weak offense this year. So, this is one of those. I mean, again, the expanded playoffs really makes this a reality. But this is a year where just been reading articles, too. Anything can happen as far as what direction teams go. But as you see, I mean, the Red Sox getting rid of Devers, you would have thought, they're waving the white flag on the season, and instead it's gone in a totally different direction, and Devers has not been that good for the Giants. So you just don't know. I mean, sometimes, teams can have addition by subtraction, or it can give opportunities to other guys. So even being a traditional seller is not necessarily waving the white flag on the season.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if you want to say like Red Sox fans should be putting their foot in their mouth or those fans that were upset over the Devers trade because, I mean, you come out of the All-Star break, they did win 10 straight games, and it did feel, oh man, we were really, really wrong about this. But now they're playing some better teams. And, I mean, I think before when Devers was there, they were at least performing against those good teams. You had to sweep against the Yankees. They took 3 of 4, I think, against Tampa before that series. And they're struggling a little bit. And again, these are good teams. There's a reason they're good baseball teams. And, but you want to see a little bit more of a fight. I think them saving the last 2 series definitely really kind of helped the image a little more. But now you're 2-4 coming out of the All-Star break, and it's not going to get any easier. Let me look at the schedule that's coming up.
Dodgers coming up this weekend. So, this is
Minnesota, Houston, Kansas City, San Diego, Houston again. Like these next 5, these are none of the. I don't even think Minnesota you want to consider a rollover team. At this point in the year, they're probably still going to fight to waste a playoff spot. And this is like that perfect time for them. But like Houston, Kansas City, San Diego, maybe a little less, than you would have thought. But this isn't easy. This is not an easy stretch here. Who else? Let's look at some other wild card teams. This American League wild card is jumbled. These teams are not very good. I'll say that they don't really feel like very great. They're very good wild card teams. Tampa at 53 and 50 is a game and a half back of the Red Sox for that final wild card spot. And then you have Texas tied with Tampa, Cleveland there 2.5 back, Kansas City 4.5 back, the Angels and Minnesota within 5, And then you have that steep drop off with Baltimore, the Athletics, and the White Sox. So, I mean, who do you look at here? Do you look at, I mean, Texas has been surging a little bit. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. Cleveland, again, like you said, playing good ball. But then Kansas City, 5-5 in their last 10. The Angels, are we going to do this again where they get close to 500 and then they make us think, oh, maybe they'll buy at the deadline, then they never do.
No,
Minnesota, don't trust them. They should sell.
Yeah.
But I think Kansas City, Cleveland, and Texas are those 3 teams middling right now.
Yeah, I think Kansas City needs offense. They need a lot of offensive help, but I don't see them being big sellers. I think teams tend to be bigger buyers, I should say, when they need pitching. There's more desperation for that. I think Cleveland is in it. We had heard Emmanuel Clase and Stephen Kwan as names that could go, but I can't imagine now. I don't think they're going to win the Central, even with Detroit struggling, but I think they're very much in the wild card chase. I think Texas has to be buyers. I think they have to go for it. I think they still have this window where they have great starting pitching. And then the Rays are never going to be true buyers. I mean, if they buy, they're going to buy low on somebody or they're going to sell high on somebody. That's interesting. They just optioned Taj Bradley to the minors. Do they feel like maybe he's someone they can dangle as a trade chip? I don't know. The American League's bad. It's bad when Detroit and Toronto and a beat up Houston team are all the top teams. It just shows you how, and I've said this all year, the Yankees made the World Series by default last year. That was one of the easiest roads through the pennant I've ever seen. And so I feel like everybody has a chance in the AL, but nobody's really that good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a very weak American League. And I think especially it feels so much weaker because of what you have in the National League and the Dodgers, that the Goliath. And I mean, I'm not going to say they've been dominating the regular season all year. They haven't been, but as we all know, it really just doesn't matter. They're going to turn the gas on when they want to turn the gas on. Now, again, I feel like we've done this before with maybe other sports where you look at a team that is so good and then they just kind of let down in the playoffs. So maybe we could be putting our foot in our mouth. But right now it's still just the Dodgers. I mean, they're 4.5 up on San Diego right now. Milwaukee actually has been surging. They currently, they do have the best record in the National League right now, which, I mean, they going to do anything with it?
No, probably not. I mean, the Dodgers, if the Dodgers can go 3-11 and still end up after that with a 4.5 game lead, I mean, there's no that they're not going to keep playing like that. And San Diego, I mean, there's no guarantee San Diego is going to even make the postseason this year. They're 2-5 against the Dodgers. A year ago, they were 8-5. I think they'll be buying. I think they'll try to stay in it. I think the Phillies are definitely going to buy. I think the Mets are going to buy. I mean, I think the NL teams will generally be a lot more aggressive because I think they all feel like they have not just pennant winning teams, but championship winning caliber teams too. So, the team that may be least likely to buy is the Brewers because they're cheap, because they like to play this little engine card, because they might say we don't want to mess up team chemistry. And that's why I think they'll ultimately fall short as they do every year.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously you have that built-in excuse of, look, we got here with the roster we have. So we don't need to add anything. Like you said, we don't want to mess up the team chemistry. We don't want to whatever. You don't want to look at the Rafael Devers situation. I think they could, weirdly enough, maybe internally they could point out the Rafael Devers situation and say, hey, what if we risk bringing in a guy like this and maybe he does tear our team down? Because the Giants were pretty damn good, I think, at that point in the season when they added Devers, and now they've been middling. They've fallen behind San Diego. So I think, and if we want to touch on the Devers thing, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be fine. Changes of scenery sometimes can be really good for guys. Sometimes it can be really bad for guys, and especially in the middle of the year. I did see the video of him slamming his helmet after ripping a double. I don't really know what type of reaction that was. It was a stand-up double too, but maybe he wanted more. Maybe he thought he could have gotten more because he kind of just jogged into second base. I don't, but again, I still don't think what has it been, a month now, roughly?
Yeah.
I think, it's been about a month since the trade. So a month of baseball, you can have a really, really bad month no matter how good you are. So I'm not really judging this this whole trade based on that. And I still do want to see what the guys got, what the Red Sox or the guys that the Red Sox got back in that trade are going to do. But let's jump into our players of the week, our bum ass players of the week, the whole thing, our awards. Oh, I guess we didn't do our full. Sorry, I skipped a segment. We didn't do our full buyers and sellers for the National League.
We could touch on that real quick, and I also wanted to point that the Brewers will try to tout their 34-25 record against over 500 teams, which is impressive, yes, but means nothing when we get to October.
Yes, for them, specifically for them, it means nothing, I think.
Right. I'll throw in that even though they're only 3.5 out, I think the Cardinals need to sell. This team as it's built is not good. They're not good. Yeah. They're mediocre at best. I think if there's a team that's kind of middling right now that might consider buying because they have the pitching and need the offense, is Cincinnati.
Yes.
But otherwise, I mean, with the exception of the Brewers who we touched on, I see all of those teams. I see the Cubs really needing to be buyers. I think the Cubs have the capability. They have, I think, close to, if not the best lineup in the National League. They need the pitching to go with it. I mean, they've lost Justin Steele for the season, but I think they need pitching help, either rotation or bullpen. Phillies need a lot of bullpen help. They did sign David Robertson, and I think the Padres need a bat.
Yeah, I look at this National League, and I'm really not impressed by any of these teams. And I don't want to say that in like a bad way that they're bad teams. I don't think this is an American League situation. I just don't think, besides the Dodgers, overall, I don't think there's anyone who can really establish their dominance. Like the Cubs felt like maybe they were going to run away with that division, but look at where they are now. The Brewers have come back and taken that division. You look at Philly, maybe it looked like the Mets were going to flounder and Philly was going to take control of the East. Now they're right back to second place, and they're sitting in the second wild card spot right now. The Dodgers are the one who have really maintained control of the West, and I don't know if you want to say it's because maybe it's a weaker division. You have but it's not really a weak division either. San Diego and San Francisco are battling for that final wild card spot. You have Arizona, who's probably going to sell. They're 5.5 out right now, but you could still maybe see a last minute run from them. But again, none of these teams, I don't feel confidence in these teams. There isn't a team out there that I look at and I say, man, I feel confident in that team's ability to do something in October besides the Dodgers, I think. And maybe that's just my stupid baseball brain talking. Maybe it's just I'm not looking at it deeper enough. Maybe Detroit you can look at in the American League, but not even them because they're still young. They're a very young team, and I could see them going into the playoffs and struggling in that first series. So I'm not really convinced by anyone except for the Dodgers just because of the payroll.
Yeah, there's no concern at all. They've already just got a really effective Tyler Glasnow back. They're going to get Snell, maybe Sasaki. We'll see what they do. I have a bad feeling they're going to get bullpen help. I predict they'll get David Bednar from the Pirates because they don't know if they're going to get Gratterall and Kopech back this season. They know they're not going to get Evan Phillips back. Yeah, there's absolutely no concern despite the 3-11 stretch. And wake me up if the Dodgers, end up on the fringe of the wild card with a week to go, and then we'll start looking at it differently. I think that if the Mets can get some pitching help, that's a team that's caught themselves a little bit. We know that they have the capability to score a lot of runs. A lot of it goes through Soto. But you're right. It's the better league, but we don't know how good. We know the Phillies have a chance to be really good. And they've got, obviously, Zach Wheeler, but they've got another budding ace who's in the Cy Young discussion, which is Christopher Sanchez. Bryce Harper's back. He's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball since he's come back. So they have a reason to believe that they can win the pennant this year. Yes. And they have Dave Dombrowski, who we know will not hesitate to pull.
Oh, I'm aware. He will not hesitate to pull the trigger. And again, the Red Sox are a 500 baseball team since the firing of David Dombrowski. So say what you want about him depleting the farm system, say all that. I know it's valid. I know it's completely valid. Trust me. I said it when he left. I was like, man, our farm system looks like shit. Mm-hmm. At the same time, you want to win. It's a big market team. You're supposed to win. You're supposed to spend that money. But again, I think it should have been focused more on a Braves way of winning versus just all or nothing.
And by the way, we expect the Braves absolutely now to be sellers. We talked about that
Yes.
earlier this year. I think two names to watch, although his value is way down, is Marcell Ozuna and Raisel Iglesias, who's had kind of a rough year. But I think a lot of teams would clamor to get him because you can take him from closer to being a really good multiple inning reliever. So I think those are two names I expect to see moved by the Braves.
Absolutely. All right, let's go into our awards for the week. Let's go with our player of the week. Who was your player of the week?
I'm going to say my player of the week, not necessarily a surprise player. I'm going to say it's Bryce Harper. Since Bryce has come back 10 games, he's 16 for 40. He's got 5 home runs in that stretch. I mean, this is over 10 games, a little more than a week. And he just hit his 350th. And when he's going, the Phillies go from having already a pretty good offense to a really good lineup. Really good. I mentioned the Cubs is maybe the best lineup. I think you could make a case maybe for the Phillies. And so we're seeing, like 2022 October Bryce Harper here over 10 games. Not a huge sample size, but we know what he can do. We know the caliber of player he is. So I would give it to Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a White Sox here. This is the first time I think a White Sox has ever won this award on the show, any award on the show. Guy that I haven't heard his name in a long time. I'm going Luis Robert Jr. He's batting .444, 6 ribbies, 4 stolen bases, and 1157 OPS. And stop the presses. The Chicago White Sox have won back-to-back series. That's right. Not games, series. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. They took 2 of 3 versus Tampa. And let me pull up the earlier series if my phone will ever not be slow as shit.
I got Pittsburgh. Yeah, 9-game hitting streak here for Robert Jr. And, he's a guy that I think very well could be moved as well. We heard his name last year. They didn't move him. Teams that need outfield help, don't fret, but the Dodgers could be a team that they've coveted him now for over a year. So wouldn't be shocked there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Astros, because he's killed the Astros the last couple of years. So.
And that is definitely an Astros thing to do. Bring the guy in that destroys you.
Yeah. Fingers crossed he doesn't end up on either of those teams, but it wouldn't shock me at all. And the White Sox, look, it's been a really horrible year and a half, but I wouldn't be shocked if they played solid baseball in the second half.
Yeah, just a couple series wins to open the second half. Let's see them play. I don't know. I mean, I think 500 baseball in the second half is a complete success. I think you could be really happy if you're a White Sox fan. And
by the way, Rockies have done the same thing. So they've taken series from Minnesota and St. Louis, 2 very middling teams headed in the wrong direction here in the second half.
Yes, I think that can be a really good indicator of what they're going to do at the deadline as well, even though we do have a week for them to kind of recover. Bum-ass player of the week. Who was just not good this week? Who was bad, in your opinion?
I hate to do it because he's totally handed over the American League Rookie of the Year favorite status to his own teammate, but Jacob Wilson is in a really miserable post All-Star stretch right now. He only has, 3 hits over like his last 30 some odd at bats. His average has dropped from 335 at the break to 311. I hate to do it because he's a young kid. He's still having a great year, but man, he's fallen off, and no surprises. He's fallen off. The A's have just continued to be the A's in that stretch. So you don't know if there's a rookie wall, if the league's figuring him out. I never realized he was the son of Jack Wilson. I actually did not learn that till the All-Star game. I remember Jack Wilson growing up. He was a great defensive shortstop. So that was news to me. Kind of a cool lineage there. But yeah, he has really, really struggled. It's a surprise because he was, at one point this year in his rookie year, we were thinking not 400, but we were thinking batting title. He peaked at 372 on June 8th. So his season has plummeted quite a bit.
I'm going with an established guy here. Someone who can't win Rookie of the Year. By the way, Carlos Narvaez for Rookie of the Year. Have to say it. Francisco Lindor, 3 RBIs, 074, 2 hits in the last week, with a 148 OPS. Although the Mets have pulled back into first, they did lose a series to the Reds, but again, this is just this is not the season the Mets wanted. I think after that NLC, it feels like Soto and Lindor cannot get on the same page. That's what it feels like. We can't get these guys to play good baseball at the exact same time. And maybe this is just what they need. And they hit September and they say, okay, now we're going to figure it out and now we're going to go. I think that might be the storyline for this year. But right now it has just been, it's been very disappointing. I'm sure that's very frustrating. It's purgatory for Mets fans. Seeing these two guys, you're so excited. You think they're going to be able to work together and they're not able to pull it together at the same time.
Right, and to the Mets' credit, they're still 15 games over 500 with that said. And Lindor goes from being the MVP runner-up last year to a guy that just has not gotten it going this year. Really feels like at any point.
Yeah. Who surprised you this week? Who's your surprise player of the week?
Well, I have to argue that Narvaez is the rookie of the year front runner. The odds makers say otherwise. And I'm going to give it to Nick Kurtz, who has a 10-game hitting streak, and he has taken over, I think, the favorite status from his teammate Jacob Wilson. He also has 5 home runs in that stretch, and he's seen his average go from 245 up to 281. This kid has 19 homers on the year. And so you talk about Soto and Lindor. It would be really nice for the A's if they could get, well, Rooker's been in a slump post All-Star break. If they could get him, Kurtz, Wilson, and Rooker going, they'd actually have a pretty formidable trio at the top of their lineup. Yeah. But Kurtz has really emerged. He had a couple big moments. The last time they faced the Astros, he had 2 walk-off homers in that series. They play the Astros coming up, so we'll see if Kurtz is another one of those guys that can burn Houston, eventually be an Astro someday, I guess, by that logic. But yeah, I'm giving it to Nick.
All right. I'm going, sadly, with a Houston Astro. Just another guy. It's just another one of those guys. Brandon Walter, 13 innings pitched in 2 starts, 12 Ks, 2 earned runs, wins versus Arizona, and then Seattle. He helped save the Seattle series for the Astros, avoid the sweep, and then they swept Arizona. Houston is on a 4-game win streak right now, 1 run in each game. And again, it's just it's the West just laying down to let the Astros take over again.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, like, hating the Dodgers and Astros, it's like 2 different ends of the spectrum. The Dodgers, you know what they have. They are so stacked, and it's like in a way, they can only underperform to expectations, which is a beautiful thing. So if they win, it's like, oh, well, they bought their whole team. They stacked the deck. Ohtani helped bring all these guys in. And it's not an asterisk like 2020 was, but it is kind of like cheapens the accomplishment a little bit in the eyes of a lot of people. What makes me so irate about the Astros is no Isaac Paredes, no Yordan Alvarez, no Jeremy Pena, no Luis Garcia, Christian Javier. It's these nobodies. It's like New England in football. It's like these teams just plug a guy in and somehow it still works. Like, yes, they still have a good core of guys. They've got, Valdez and Brown at the top of the rotation. They've got Abreu and Hader at the back end of the bullpen. I understand they brought in Christian Walker. Altuve is still a good player. Cam Smith's a good rookie. But, give away Tucker on that. Not give away. I mean, they got Paredes, but it's just, who are these guys? And they're just somehow, and again, the West is a big part of that, but they still have a pretty damn good record against over 500 teams. So I don't know, but somebody's got to step up and stand up. They can't, no one can let this team win on its mystique alone. That is unacceptable. That's like how the Yankees have put together winning seasons every year since 92. It's like, it's really just people are like, how is this logic? I'm like, it's not. It's just because they're the Yankees. They always have enough capital to make their roster good enough. We cannot let this happen with Houston.
No. And Texas is doing their best shot, or taking their best shot right now. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They have been hitting the stride.
Well, and Texas is the team that, that stood up. That's the only other team.
They're the last one to,
in the West that gave Houston a challenge. They didn't win the division that year, but they beat them in the playoffs. Obviously, Detroit got them last year. But my point being is, like, there's no resistance from the AL West. It really helps when you have the Angels and the A's as bottom feeders.
Yes. And Seattle, who just can't play a full season of baseball. They just can't play a full season.
Oh God, it's got to be. They're just horrible to be a Mariners fan.
And we didn't get to talk about the home run derby. What do you think about the tiebreaker being the average home run distance. Would you? I
Oh,
would
the
rather see a
Derby
swing off.
itself, I don't know. Well, what else are you going to do? Like, I think the only other thing would be a percentage of home runs, maybe
I would rather just see a swing off in the Derby
swing
to
off in the
decide a
Derby in
tiebreaker.
the All-Star game, because I didn't love it in the All-Star game. I would have preferred they play one extra inning in the normal rules, or not now normal rules, to at least see if we can get a walk-off, because I think, to me, a walk-off, traditional walk-off.
It's one of the most exciting things in sports, a walk-off, any sort of walk-off.
I mean, heck, you could have changed it even in the All-Star game to, like, we start with bases loaded in the 10. You know, you want to get more offense in extra innings, great. I mean, nobody's going to care if you tweak the All-Star rules, but the swing off just seems silly. And it's also very randomized because you have the players that are in the game. And so Schwarber's like a cheat code.
Yeah.
It was like a cheat code. In the Derby, I don't know. I don't love the distance thing. A home run's a home run. I would have preferred if they could do something like, percentage of home runs to pitches overall. I think that would be more fair. Efficiency versus, who's got slightly stronger torso muscles to turn on that ball.
Yeah. And I still hate the timer. I mean, you can see these guys are just exhausted after every single round, and it's and limited pitches.
Right.
So either 27 pitches or the timer. I think either that's ridiculous. Either do the limited pitches or do the timer or do the outs. One of the three. Or really limited pitches and outs, I think, is the best way to do it. But honestly, you should just have unlimited. If you just keep hitting home runs, you just keep hitting home runs. You shouldn't be punished for that.
I'm with you.
All right, team of the week. Who was your best team this week? I think we're gonna have the same one.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're both gonna go with the Brewers, then I should probably go with. We should probably. I'll just be the not
contrarian.
I would say Texas. Because that's a team that there were a lot of expectations for, and in some ways, when you're a team that's been underperforming all year, it's harder to get it going than maybe a team that can just play loose and free. And I'm not saying like Bruce Bochy's job is on the line or anything like that, or Chris Young for that matter, but I think we assume, not just given Bochy's history of like the every other year thing, but we assume that the Rangers had a lot of, had some injuries. They kind of had to reload a little bit this year. DeGrom and Eovaldi at the top of the rotation. I think also, in spite of the fact that their offense has really underperformed this year. So, for them to get back in contention here, they're 8-2, as we said, in their last 10. And by the way, you take a look in the American League, Texas has given up the fewest runs in the American League. They're 31 runs better in run prevention than the Houston Astros, giving up 354 runs. Actually, that is the best in baseball. So you're talking about a pitching staff that has a chance to really be effective. And if Texas can get its offense going, I mean, this is a team that, again, we know what they did 2 years ago. They kind of not totally came off the grid, but I don't know that people expected them to just suddenly take that wild card route all the way to the World Series.
Yeah, definitely. I think Texas is very deserving. That's a team. Again, we've been waiting on them. We've been waiting and waiting. When are they going to find it? And they just haven't found it. But now maybe they have. Maybe we're going to see them make that run, and I'm honestly excited for that.
Yeah.
Baseball is good when the Rangers are good. And I think I say that about every single team, whenever every single team is good. It's just good. It's good seeing good baseball. It's nice seeing good baseball.
It is.
I'm going with Milwaukee. Pretty easy. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They swept the Dodgers. They took 2 of 3 from the Mariners. And they jumped the Dodgers for the best record in the National League. So I think it's really hard to not give them that. I mean, this might be one of the easiest awards you can give.
Yeah.
At this moment, maybe the Red Sox when they were 10-0, that 10-game win streak, that was pretty easy. But going Milwaukee here, and then your bum ass team of the week, who was just so bad this week.
Yeah. By the way, if you're talking about betting odds, I've seen the Rangers as high as 22-1 to win the pennant. Just might be something interesting to keep an eye on. They're only 2.5 games out of a wild card. I get it. They'd have to go the wild card route again, but they've done that before. And there's no manager I trust more in October than Bruce Bochy. Speaking of managers who have won and managers of bum-ass teams right now, I'm going with the Detroit Tigers. I mean, they have been awful. Now, in fairness, when a team plays so well over expectations, it's inevitable that they're going to hit a slide, and I understand that. But the Tigers are 1-9 in their last 10. Scooble's been Scooble. He wasn't great in the All-Star game, which always, I'm not saying that's a red flag or anything, but they need another starter. I think they need bullpen. I think they're a team that they're not flawed, but I think that they need help. If they're going to really push to win the pennant, they need another bat. They need like a big bat. They don't have that guy that can put the team on his back. Torkelson's got power. Green's had an all-star year. Baez been a great story. Torres. They need another guy besides Scooble. They don't really even have a true number 2 starter. I'm not counting Flaherty as a number 2 starter. I'm not ready to, even though he was an all-star, I'm not ready to give that title to Casey Mize. I don't trust the depth of this Tigers bullpen. And they just got swept by the Pirates. It's one thing to go 1-9 if you're playing. I know they played Texas, okay, and maybe you played the Dodgers or something. But they just got swept by Pittsburgh. That's
a bad ball club.
Really?
That's a really bad ball.
Really?
Ball
yeah.
club.
Okay. So they faced Skeens once, but even so, come on, and they got flattened, and they didn't score any run. They barely scored in that series. So there's definitely some concern. But the good news is, we see this a lot. Teams start really hot. They have their midseason swoon. They built up enough of a division lead, which they're still 8 games up. Although, what were they, like 15 up at one point? It's gone down to 8. It's not quite time to panic, but Cleveland's 8-2 in its last 10, and the Tigers are 1-9. So that's a 7-game gap.
You're looking over your shoulder a little bit if you're the Detroit Tigers. You are turning around and saying, "Oh shit, okay,
yeah,
we got to hit the gas at some point."
Yeah, and Tigers are still over 500 against over 500 teams, but yeah, it's alarming right now how badly they're playing.
Yeah. Who are you looking to at the deadline if you're the Tigers for maybe to add a bat?
I would love to see them go after Eugenio Suarez. He's a guy that he actually was quoted as saying he thought it would be cool to finish his career in Detroit, the team he actually started with. I think they need a thumper in that lineup, and he would be a great fit. Now, that said, I think Tiger fans would probably tell you they want pitching. I think a guy like Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen would make a lot of sense. Gallen's had a rough year, but we know what he did 2 years ago in the postseason. And then bullpen help. I think they would be an interesting team I mentioned David Bednar will probably somehow end up on the Dodgers, but the Renegade, as they call him, that would be a good fit, a power pitcher with an edge to him. Yeah. Rugged, he's a Pittsburgh guy playing for the Pirates. I think any of those guys would be really good fits for Detroit. But if they want to go big, I think Suarez would be a guy for them to try to push for.
My bum-ass team of the week, I think this more just extends, honestly, to before the All-Star break. But it's the Tampa Bay Rays. They have just hit I think we kind of expected it because we said they cannot keep this up. I think they were in first place 2.5 weeks ago about. Yeah. They're now 7.5 games back, and they're in 4th place. They have fallen, and they've fallen fast. Yeah. I love to see it. Despise the Tampa Bay Rays. Josh on the cycle is a big Rays fan. Love to see the sweep right before the break. But yeah, even he said we were just praying for that All-Star break to come to just get us a little bit of time to regroup, and they have not regrouped. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They just lost a series to the Chicago White Sox. And again, they're 7.5 back. They've fallen far. They're a 1.5 back of the Red Sox for that 3rd wild card spot. And they're like 4 back of the Yankees or something.
3.5.
Let me see
here.
They're
7.5.
3.5 back.
Blue Jays, we should still tip our cap to the Blue Jays. I know they lost 3 of 4 after that winning streak. They've come right back here after the break. And they just took a big series from the Yankees. They finished 6-1 at home against the Yankees this year. So yeah, and I'm with you on the Rays. I think it's like the Rays can always play that expectation card. Nobody ever expects us, so whatever we do is just gravy. And I agree with you. It's like I don't have the same problem with them per se because in a way I love the idea that a team can find a way to be pretty relevant with limited resources, but I also hate that they refuse to spend and that they refuse to really try to put that big club together and that they've given guys, big talent away like Glasnow or Rosarena. I understand for Glasnow they got Ryan Pepio, who's been pretty darn good and more durable than Glasnow, but I still don't like the optics of that. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I don't know. We're going to the Rays.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think so. I think probably the Trop thing finally was like, I'm done. I can't do this shit anymore. And fans were not happy with him either. You had a couple. Did they have 2 straight years where they were the first seed, the number 1 seed in the American League?
20, the shortened year where they went to the World Series, and then 21 when they won.
And
I think they were at 100.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost to the Red Sox. And
great series to be at. That was an awesome series.
You went? Oh, in Tampa.
I was there in Tampa. Yeah, I was at both in Tampa. Awesome games.
Yeah, and they got swept out quickly in 2 by the Guardians in 22. And again, I mean, I think that their best shot was that shortened year. Would have been cheapened for sure.
But I don't think you look at it like you look at the Dodgers at all. If they won the World Series that year, I think you look at it as, wow, that was a great run by them. The Brandon Phillips walk off where he's like running around the
the airplane.
Yeah, Brett Phillips. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think you look at it as cheap, in my opinion. I think you do say, oh well, it wasn't the bubble, but because it was the Dodgers, you say, oh well, you haven't done it in 30 something years or 20 something years, and now you finally do it in the bubble. Come on. But the Rays, I think you just say, oh, it's the Rays. They won one. That's all that matters.
I would play devil's advocate, though, on that. I think you make a valid point. But then at the same time, it's like, you have less of the obstacles to win. And it's like, oh, if a team that normally wouldn't do it in a year wins, it's like, yeah, but would they have done it? Whereas the Dodgers, it's like, we know the Dodgers always come up short in October, but they always have a good enough team. And that team was 43-17 through 60 games. But no matter what, it's BS no matter what. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
But,
no, I agree. I just don't. I think it's less. I think that discussion is a little less.
Well, the worst thing that year was the Astros being 29-31 and ending up 1 game away from the World Series. I mean, you talk about asterisk if they had won it that year, if Tampa hadn't hung on after blowing that 3-0 lead. But anyway, the Rays they're in rough shape. And if you believe in the expected win-loss, they're 58-45. That plays a lot into run differential, but you know what? They got to, and I think something we'll have to look into and see what plays out with it and talk about it another time. But there's been some people think it's very odd that Taj Bradley just got optioned in the minors, that there's either a manipulation of service time going on, or that they're looking to do that as a way to move him, perhaps. It's an odd decision. He has had a couple rough starts, but he was really good before that. I think against the Red Sox. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just something the Rays would do. And you'd look at it and be like, well, what are they doing? I mean, Bradley's a solid pitcher. He was really good last year. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the weekend. We're going to go rapid fire here. We only have a few minutes left. Marlins, Brewers, just put your foot on their throat. On the throat of the Central here.
Yes, the Brewers got one of the 3 they played. I think the Marlins overall have been maybe the most surprising team this year. I think we're looking at a team that's most exceeded expectations. It's easy to forget the Marlins were in the playoffs 2 years ago, and Skip Schumacher was manager of the year. Yes. Typical to the way Joe Girardi was let go after his manager of the year in 2006. A year later, I think, Schumacher's gone. But yeah, Clayton McCullough's done a great job for the Marlins. They're not going to make the postseason, but they are headed in the right direction. We'll see if they move Sandy Alcantara. But yeah, the Brewers, can you stay this hot? I don't know. I guess we're about to find out.
It's the Brewers. I think this is the perfect knock them back down.
Yeah.
Though they've had a good stretch. Now it's time for the Brewers to lose a few. No matter how good or bad that team is. Arizona and the Pirates.
Boy, Arizona, this would be the nail.
This could give them, either the nail in the coffin or a kind of fake last hope.
Right.
Like, hey, maybe we should buy. Like if we sweep, maybe we could get to like 3.5 back, depending on what Cincinnati does.
Yeah, I'm very annoyed with both teams. The Pirates just being the Pirates and the Diamondbacks just falling off. And Torey Lovullo basically calling out his team, saying it was unacceptable yesterday. They were swept at home by the Astros, second straight time that they faced them at home, going back 2 years ago. I think the Diamondbacks are sellers, and I just want to see what Paul Skeens does to him on Sunday. I think he's lined up to pitch in that series.
Paul Skeens will not be traded at the deadline. I
don't
got to
think
confirm
so.
that.
Paul Skeens he's 5-8 with a sub-2 ERA. See what Brian Kenny just wants to kill the win as a stat.
He might be the only Pirate that is safe, I think.
I don't know.
And strictly just because he's cheap right now, and they're not going to get rid of him because he's cheap.
You have an astronomical trade value, and I think maybe McCutchen, just so the Pirates can still.
That's true. Well, Skeens and McCutchen, they sell the tickets. Right. That's it. Rockies O's, woof.
Weird timing that Felix Bautista goes on the IL right before this series. Remember, it was during that series 2 years ago that he had his injury that led to Tommy John. I mean, the Orioles they're done. They're going to sell guys with expiring contracts, mainly Ryan O'Hearn. But if you're the Rockies, I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to go on a charge. I'm depressed to say this. They're not going to break the record. I don't think they're going to only win 40 games. I think they'll get not far past the White Sox, probably win like 44, 45 games. But yeah, keep an eye on them, although I do expect him to move Ryan McMahon and possibly German Marquez, but he's hurt now, so I don't know. Who wants to take on that contract?
Ryan O'Hearn, future Red Sox at the deadline.
Giants, I think, make a lot of sense too. Rumors that maybe Adley Rutschman to San Francisco. Take him.
Really?
I don't know. Was one
that I don't know if I mean, how would O's fans feel about that? How would you feel just emotionally more than anything?
No, Rutschman's one of those guys that could really benefit from a change of scenery. It just depends what they can get for him. They've got Basallo coming up behind him in the minors. So
all right. Well, that would kind of stink. I kind of, I secretly root a little bit for the O's. You guys are, you're here in Sarasota with the spring training, and it's nice to see them succeed every once in a while. Plus, we'll be moving to Baltimore, so I guess I have to have a little bit of love for them. I think I would like the Nationals a little more. I like the Nationals. They were the Expos. I like the Expos. So, yeah. DMV, I'm definitely rooting for the Nats, but I'll root for the O's a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. Phillies Yankees series of the weekend.
Probably
maybe Blue Jays Tigers series of the weekend.
Yeah, I think Phillies Yankees will be really entertaining. I mean, I think the Yankees have so much pressure on them. I love seeing them committed. What was it, like 11 errors, 7 errors in 3 games? A lot of bad defense, just proving my point that they really only won the league by default last year. They're going to be desperate. They're going to try to bring in a big name or two, similar to those like mid-2000s Yankees teams that always fell short, and I loved it, and I love it now. That said, I don't want to see the Phillies go on a heater, but they're neck and neck. I mean, both teams are fighting for the division. Neither team is in first place technically right now. Phillies half game behind the Mets, and the Yankees now 4 out of the Jays. So we'll see. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium. Let's see how that goes.
And Bryce Harper's, like you said, he is finding it right now. This is going to be perfect. I think this is a big Phillies series win here. I almost like a sweep, honestly.
I would like that. I don't think that's gonna.
Think it's gonna
maybe
happen.
it's possible, but nothing would surprise me here.
Yeah, Dodgers Red Sox at Fenway. I will say the Red Sox have been very good at Fenway this year. They've been good at home. So besides that, I honestly don't know what to expect from them. Really, I think they are. They don't know who they are right now. Again, I think we've gone right back after that 10-game win streak. I think beating Philly last night was a big confidence boost, but we've won games like that earlier in the year. So I'm not too sure what to expect. I think you really need to see Bayo show up. I think that's going to be a big confidence boost. A guy who has been pitching well lately. But again, he's young. He's shown struggle. He's shown struggle with his emotions. I think if you can see him go out there and give you just a quality start, I think that's a big confidence boost for the rest of the weekend.
This is a really tough spot for the Red Sox, only because they're kind of due to come back to earth, and the Dodgers are 4-11. Like, at some point that rush is coming, and the way the Dodgers won, oh my God, they were down to their last strike a bunch of times. Only Minnesota could. They walk Esteury Ruiz, and then Freeman hits a ball that lands 2 inches in front of Bader's glove, and it's like, you got to be kidding me. You had a real chance to not save their season, but just at least put another dent in the Dodgers. And it's like, oh my God, is that the win that's going to suddenly carry the Dodgers into momentum? I hope not. Mookie Betts, by the way, may miss Friday. Roberts didn't elaborate on it, but said Betts is dealing with some personal stuff. He's hitting, 238
He's
this
been
year?
struggling. Not good.
Maybe the personal stuff is involved in that. Remember, he was sick, lost a bunch of weight before the season. But Ohtani at Fenway, he's homered in 5 straight games. Pesky pull. Red Sox better find a way to hold, keep the Dodgers to a moderate number of runs if they're going to win in this series.
Did you see the video of Kike Hernandez eating those 2 popsicles?
No.
In the dugout? That was crazy. He's double fisting popsicles and I mean he's not being gentle with it either. His teeth probably fucking hurt.
Kike Hernandez has been I don't know what's the word. He's he had that thing with the shirt, the inappropriate shirt he wore. I don't know.
He wears the helmet while he's pitching too.
He does.
When they send him out there. I love that. I love that thing.
I mean, he's kind of a entertaining guy, but it's also annoying because he's gone back to the Dodgers now, and it's like, why does he suddenly turn into Babe Ruth in October? But it'll be an entertaining series. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, hopefully everything's okay with Mookie Betts. We're not rooting for anything bad there, but it'll be fun.
I want to see him play at Fenway.
Got a nice ovation there 2 years ago when they came back.
Yeah. Still love Mookie. The Red Sox the fans still love Mookie. I hope he's all right.
And the Sox owe the Dodgers. They were swept in LA last year right after the All-Star break. So
yeah. All right. Nope. I am not going to that. Rays Reds. 50 both teams are 50 and 53 right now, going in opposite directions.
Yeah, 53 and 50 both sides. Yeah, the Reds are just one of those teams very much flying under the radar, and they will continue to fly under the radar unless they make a move. This is one of those weekends. It feels like the loser of this series, just a real gut punch. So yeah, hard to say what to expect here. I have no idea. Coin.
Blue Jays Tigers. This might be the series of the weekend. I don't know why. This is a nostalgic matchup for me. Wasn't there an almost no-hitter that the Blue Jays had against the Tigers at one point? I can't remember.
Was it the Armando Galarraga? No, that wasn't against the Blue Jays. But
I think that was against Tampa.
Well, I know Verlander no-hit the Jays, but that was when he was with Houston. So I'm not sure. Very classic. Close proximity, about a 4-hour drive between the cities. But most importantly, just the Tigers just have to get that winning feeling back. The Blue Jays have had plenty of winning feelings lately. Blue Jays are 37-17 at home this year, but they'll be in Detroit and they're under 500 on the road. So this is a chance for the Jays to sort of to right that. But I think, man, there's a lot. I feel like suddenly there's a lot of pressure on the Tigers in this series, especially if the Guardians keep playing well. And
yes, and very much.
I believe will pitch Friday, I should say.
He pitched Friday is Montero.
Okay, so Saturday, he had the extra day.
Saturday, Skubal, versus Gausman.
Jays need starting pitching. They just every guy in their rotation is just good or above average. They're if anybody had a wish list, Blue Jays getting an ace or a guy who could step up as a number one. Because who's starting game one of a postseason series for Toronto? Barrios, Gausman, Bassett. Trust any of those guys?
Where's Max Scherzer?
And
what's going on with that?
Mention him. He's not. He ain't starting game one. He may not even start game 4.
You might just based on him being Max Scherzer, you might just have to say, you know what, we're going to roll with this guy.
Possibly.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not saying Scherzer's been bad. He's just not that Scherzer anymore.
No, not at all. Padres Cardinals. Pavetta and Mikolas on Friday.
Just don't know what to really make of the Padres. It just feels like it's just such a gut punch losing last year to the Dodgers. Obviously, they're still in it. They're still in a playoff position right now, and the Cardinals are the team that's sort of trending towards being sellers at 3-7 in their last 10. They've fallen 9.5 out in the division, and they are 3.5 out in the wild card. So, I mean, chance for them to make up ground. I mean, they have 4 shots at it. If they take 3 out of 4 from the Padres, suddenly they could move within a game and a half. I just don't see it though. I think this is San Diego's got to be better than just average. They got to stop, losing 2 out of 3, then winning 2 out of 3. I mean, they have to have that moment that says, okay, this team can be an actual contender this year.
Battle of Chicago, Cubs, White Sox, just a good opportunity for the Cubs to gain some ground. And listen, I think this this is the time to maybe put the White Sox a little bit on the radar.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs have been good this year. There's a lot of reason to like their chances, maybe even consider them as a pennant-winning team. But yeah, the White Sox are feisty. There's a lot of emotion in this series. By the way, one of the best surprise stories this year for the Cubs has been Matthew Boyd, and not only a surprise story, but he's a legitimate Cy Young frontrunner right now. And so, how big has that been in the absence of Justin Steele and Imanaga was out for a while? So that'll be a fun series. But yeah, a chance for the White Sox to show that maybe they're making progress.
Yeah. Braves Rangers. Braves are just that, they're pretty much dead in the water at this point.
Oh, and a chance for the Rangers to maybe get a firsthand look at a couple guys that they may be scouting. Right? I mentioned Ozuna, I mentioned Iglesias. I think this is a time where Texas is got to prove that this 8-2 stretch is not a fluke. They've got to take advantage of, as I said, what's been an incredibly efficient pitching staff this year, a ridiculously good pitching staff with runs allowed. So the Braves, easy to say. I think, like I said, if the Marlins are the biggest surprise in baseball, the Braves are easily the biggest disappointment. So both of those in the same division. And I never in a million years would have thought, as we approach the trade deadline, that the Marlins would be 4 games ahead of the Braves in the standings.
Yeah. Guards, Royals.
I mean, Guards lost 10 in a row, and then they've gone 11-2. Can they keep it rolling? Royals, I don't know. They just don't score runs, and they just don't score. They're the lowest scoring team in all of in the American League, and better in baseball only than the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's kind of brutal. They're just so average. They play low scoring games. So if the Guardians want to keep rolling, they can't slip up here.
Yeah. Athletics, Astros.
Yeah, I guess somebody's just got to knock the Astros down a peg. And the Athletics are probably not the team to do it. It's going to be a 4-game series, but I don't know. I don't know what to say other than just
nothing exciting.
You just pray the A's can somehow get a split in this series.
Yeah. Nationals, Twins.
Ugh. Now they're just, as you'd say, gross matchup. Nats floundering all year, fired their manager. Twins just on the verge of a probably selling, of a brutal loss to the Dodgers. I just nothing to say about this series.
Same thing about Mariners, Angels, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if the Angels want to maybe think about a push, this is really their last hope before the deadline. I don't see them being buyers of any significant kind. I think the Mariners could be. I think if the Mariners could go out and get a big bat, galvanize them a little bit. I mean, we've seen these random big offensive surges from the Mariners. We saw them just crush the Tigers before the break. They looked great in taking those first 2 from the Astros. It's so typical of the Mariners to then follow that up with, sluggish performances. But Logan Gilbert pitched outstanding in his last start. And if he comes back to form, Castillo's pitched well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust them. I'm just saying if they want to make a push, they are still very much at least in the race for a wild card. You can't even say they're totally out of the division race. It's just we know how this stuff goes. They are in a playoff position right now, though.
Yeah. And then Mets Giants in San Francisco.
This will be the Sunday night game. Giants, another one of those teams, almost like Mariners-esque. Hey, hats off to Verlander. He finally got his first win of the season. He gave up 1 hit, although he had 5 walks in 5 innings. He did. Yeah, I still want to see him do well. I want to see Kate Upton, shots in the crowd, the playoffs perhaps. Giants are, they're in it. I don't really see them making a push for the division at this point, but their pitching has been really good among the leaders in fewest runs allowed this year. So we'll see. For the Mets, it's like the Mets have just their record is good. They're playing better. They've won 4 in a row now, but we just haven't seen them have like that big surge like they had last year where they really turned it around after that bad start. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to buy into the Mets until I see them really put together like a more of a sustained run.
Yeah, San Francisco currently a game and a half back of San Diego for the final wild card spot. All right, I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go check out the cycle dropping probably today or tomorrow. And then look out for our NFL preview episode coming up in a couple weeks. Football season's back. I can't believe football season's back. We have an NFL game this month. A week from today, actually, Hall of Fame game, 31st. Can't believe it. It's actually back. Anthony Richardson is healthy again, and him and Daniel Jones are competing for the worst quarterback. That's what it's sounding like.
Yep.
Not good. Not good at all. But again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next week.